What's happening, Mustafa?
How you doing?
What do you want to talk about today?
Today, I want to talk about how we can generate music using AI. You know that I'm a professor at FIU, but do you know that I'm also a music producer?
Oh, yeah?
I didn't know that either, but thanks to AI, now I can generate music all I want. And today, I actually want to talk about that.
So a little bit about me. I'm a product director at the SilverLogic. I'm a designer first and then software engineer. And then I would say the image generation models is what, like in 2022, really inspired me when I realized that Stable Diffusion was an open source one, and that I could download this model and I could run it on my computer and it could just make images for me. I really just took the personal time to learn all about these diffusion models, which is kind of how you either generate music, generate images, or have a language model to write things. And just really jumping in, I know almost nothing about the math that goes into making these things. I only know how to use them kind of in and out, how you can fine-tune them, prompt engineer them, and then string them together to make things. And I think that's a little bit about me. You want to give a little background on you? And we're ready to go back here?
Sure. My name is Mustafa. I'm a professor at Florida International University. I actually don't know anything about music, but I know about AI. And if you know AI, it turned out you can know about other fields as well. And today, I'm briefly going to talk about how AI can generate music. Okay. So there is a tool called Music LM. This is developed by Google. So this is the first AI music generation system. It's a little complicated, but I'm going to break it down to you. Okay. So for now, just know that there are three main systems. First, that understands our prompt. Second, matches with an audio. And the third one is just decompressing and compressing music for us. Okay. So let's start with the first one. So we have this word-to-BERT system. What it does is it basically understands what your prompt means. Okay. So it figures out the moods, instruments, the other details that you describe. So for example, if you say something like, create a melancholic EDM music about a guy who's overwhelmed with work and feels homesick, it takes this prompt and it identifies this is an EDM. We need melancholic beats. And the lyrics is going to be about overwhelmed guy who is also homesick. Okay. Next up, once we have these semantics, it gives it to the Mulan module, which is music language model. So this model, what it does is, based on description, it matches an audio. Okay, so you can consider this as like a bridge from the text description into creating music. So essentially, this translates what you want and the musical output. So for example, this system is trained with massive, diverse training data sets. Okay, so there is a song and there's a description of the song. For example, let's say we have Moonlight. So the description will be, the genre is lo-fi hip-hop, R&B, and these are the beat lists, these are the instruments, and these are what the lyrics for. But they're also very detailed, so every single music frame is also labeled with details description. And that's how they match it with audios. And then finally, we have the sound stream. So this is basically just compressing and decompressing. So what it does is it generates faster. This is what we need for. So overall, we give the prompt, it extracts the semantics, matches an audio, compresses, and when we need to listen, it decompresses. That's it. Okay? So let's give it a try. So let's give this prompt to our AI. So I copy-pasted the prompt. So I give it to now it's processing my prompt, and it's trying to match with an audio. And then what it does is, right now it's going to decompress the whole thing. So this is the result.
peace, lost in work, will it cease? Echoes call and sky so blue. Listen, all the things
Drop
I
the
knew.
beats.
So we create the music in 20 seconds.
That was live? You created that one live
Yeah.
right there?
Exactly. Yeah. So what do you guys think about the music? Even though I have no idea about music, I can produce music easily. Okay. Now the thing is, like, there are a couple of issues with this thing. Okay, this company is Suno AI. They're completely profit-based. They don't want to deal with any copyright infringement, so they pay voice singer and use their voice. But there are some individuals who actually create music using copyrighted materials. I don't know if you know about it, but some guy used Drake's voice and The Weeknd voice and create this Heart on My Sleeve music. And it actually sent this music to Grammy. And everyone was like, oh, this is going to get denied, right? But the CEO of Grammy said, oh, this is written by a human. Why will I deny this? Like, it's based on our description. It fits. So the issue is if the generative AI directly copies or mimics copyright material, it is a copyright infringement. But the thing is, AIs are not copying. Like, you can see that as well. If you use ChatGPT, ask a question, it will give you an answer. Ask the same exact question, it will give you a different answer. This is happening because of conditional probability. So we have a solution set. From the solution set, it picks a word. The next word depends on the first word, and again picks a random word. And let's say for the lyrics, every word is coming from a solution space of 20 words. Let's say a lyrics contains 100 words, it's 20 to 100. So it is impossible to generate the same exact thing again. As I said, AIs cannot even copy their own product. So the current copyright law focuses on the ownership, but the thing is, author is not the AI, it's the human prompt. And human input is make it unique. But the problem is there are current legal battles going on about copyright infringement and AI music generation. Right now, what they said is if the AI is trained on copyrighted material, that will be an infringement. But the thing is, if you go to these companies, AI companies, and ask which data you train your model with, they're going to say, I don't know, because they're using billions, even trillions of data points, and there's no way a human can possibly go through every single data point and say, okay, I should not use this. So there's an example for that. So right now we're using GPT 4.0, and before that we're using GPT 4.5, before that GPT 4, before that GPT 3, which is ChatGPT. How many of you heard about GPT 2? 1, 2, okay. And the reason why you didn't hear about GPT-2, it got shut down easily. So when they introduced GPT-2, they have this real cool feature, which is you can give just few words and it can complete a sentence out of it, okay? And some guy tried to use it and said, 2 Muslims finished the sentence, and this was the result. And when you give a context such as 2 Muslims enter to a bar, it will give you something like 2 Muslims enter to a bar and shoot the entire bar. And they shut down the system, and they're like, why this is happening? And so they go back to training data. They realize they use news articles for training. If they didn't even know about it. And then that's why in the news articles, all these like terrorism happening, that's why every time you put a Muslim, it was correlating to a terrorism attack. So summarizing everything right now, the copyright infringements, we need new regulations, new laws, and yeah, right. The current laws are not addressing everything.
I totally agree with that. I think that everything we thought we knew about intellectual property is about to go out the window because of this.
Yeah, and the other thing is like AIs are biased. I mean, We can see this bias on the image generation as well. So if you put CEO on image generation tool, you'll see this. You guys see any pattern? They're all male and Caucasian. And if you put nurse, it's going to be all woman. And if you put Asian, it was actually generating pornographic pictures. I couldn't put there for obvious reason. But the thing is, they asked why this is happening, and the guy and the CEO said, I have no idea, because they don't even know what they trained on. So,
and it's also hard to figure out, like, what do we want? Because on the other side of that, there was the Google one that was, you type in sumo wrestler, and you're looking for a particular archetype, and it was kind of going too far with it. So, like, even if we knew exactly what it to do, like, we can't control it. We don't know exactly how to get it to do what we want. But even if we did, what is the right answer? I have no idea.
Yeah. And let me ask you this. You're a musician.
I am.
I'm not. And you can see that I can create music with AI easily. Do you think AI will replace musicians?
Definitely not. I think it's just a tool like anything else. You know, Serato and you know, like, they've been trying to replace musicians forever. Even like the Mellotron was like Beatles era, like they thought it was going to replace the band. I think it, like, now we're starting to see talent and skill becoming kind of like more commoditized, where, you know, some, like, at some point, you know, you have to have great skill to play guitar or play anything, but now you don't really need that. And I think that it's kind of sad, but I think that it's a trend that's been going anyway. I mean, I'm sure, like, proficiency in oil painting has been plummeting for the last couple hundred years, and I think we're going to continue to see that go down. But I do think it's a net positive, because if you've never taken the time to learn how to do something, and then you can't make the art. But I think it's going to transition art to not being so skill based and more into, like, what do you have to say? Because now, if you can make, you know, in 5 years, if you could make a Pixar level movie on your laptop, now you don't need to teach yourself how to, like, train yourself with 3D art and then have a score in the background and have this, like, you can have this thing. So if you're an artist with nothing, with no talent but nothing to say, but something to say, I think that will elevate you, and I think that you will. And I think it'll be a net positive to creativity, even though certain hard skills will go down.
Let me ask you another question. Is using AI cheating in the musician sense? Because
You certainly can cheat. You certainly can, and then I mean, I think a better allegory is like school and education. Like, can you use ChatGPT to just kind of get by at school, fool all your professors into thinking that you're smart, and then getting a good grade and not learn anything? Yes, but on the other side of that, I think that AI is the greatest teacher you're ever going to have. Its ability to be able to synthesize information for you. I mean, I almost never look for instructions online anymore. Usually I'll tell ChatGPT, like, do research on this code-based documentation before I even ask it what I want to do, and then I'll have it do it. So just like that, like, if you use it to cheat and you use it to just create something, oh, look what I did, like, then it's cheating. But if you're using, like, if I spent 4 hours drawing and I could make one, like, piece of, like, I could make one character, like one, and then now in that same 4 hours I can make a whole storyline with all these different things, and my output has, like, 100x, like, is that cheating? No, I don't think it's cheating.
and do we have any questions from the audience?
So, guys, where's the opportunity for artists and for entrepreneurs? Obviously, there's a lot happening, a lot of moving parts here. Where do you guys think is the opportunity for entrepreneurs, for investors, given kind of the current turmoil?
I mean, I will say as you're just new to this and you can't afford DJ, there you go. You can get the beat from AI for free, and that's your opportunity. Chris, what do you think?
So yeah, it's definitely a tricky scenario if you're like coming to market with a product right now, because there was this great company called Retail AI that had a really nice process for taking in like voice data, translating to text, sending it to GPT, and then translating it back into speech and giving it back to you. And that's a great company, low latency, it worked really well. But then GPT-4o came out and they just put them out of business, like, pretty much overnight. They're probably still gonna like kick around. I think it's really about context machines, because like the AI is going to just get better and better over time, and we're always gonna, and it's like you can't like the parlor tricks are going to get old. But if you can have a business, especially if you already have a business and you have your set of context, or like you're a musician, like, and you want to make music, like you have a set of context, whether it's your ideas and your research. So I really think it's who can organize the context in like a clean, organized way to achieve a goal. I think that's kind of like, no matter how good the model gets, if you have a system of like handling and delivering context, I think that's kind of where it's going to lie.
Anyone else?
Thank you. Yeah, so my name is Christian with VibeQ. So I wanted to ask you a little bit about that slide you had up with Moonlight. Can you talk a little bit about how a song is, how the descriptions are extracted from a song?
That was actually manual labor work. So what we have something called Amazon Mechanical Turk. As researchers, what we do is we hire annotators from India and China, which they're the cheapest labor. So what you do, they just listen to songs and provide description, and there's some person who's evaluating this whole thing. So if it makes sense, they were labeling the music frame with these description. And when you put your own song, if it's matching, so for example, let me go back. Okay, so for example, when you put these prompts, let's say in the data sets, there will be sounds for melancholic beats, there will be sounds for EDM, there will be music about a guy feel homesick. For example, let's say we can just like Englishman in New York, a guy feeling homesick, We can just combining that with melancholic beats and then adding EDM music and then adding some other lyrics factor. So yeah, it was all manual labor work, basically. If that makes sense.
But I will say that the music labeling and the categorization, like there's categorization algorithms, they definitely fall behind the voice and visual ones. But like if you wanted to, let's say if you wanted to have like a list of nested bullets like this about an image, you could just upload that to ChatGPT and then give it the format you want, and it would do that. And I think. And yeah, as of right now, it's you're using humans to label things, but eventually we're going to get to a point where like the computers are just as good, if not better, than us at labeling it, and then it's going to start labeling the stuff that it generated, and then you're really going to have this kind of flywheel effect, and then I think we're going to see that hard takeoff that might be scary, might be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, the whole voice recognition thing, that's been happening for decades. When I was in bachelor's, that was my course project, actually, just detecting and analyzing voice. But I never thought, like, AI can generate music. The thing is, AI has been there for decades, but the awareness of AI is increasing recently. For example, we go to Walmart, we see that there's pasta and the marinara sauce in the same aisle. That isn't a random decision. That is a production of association rule algorithm. If 80% of pasta buyers are buying marinara sauce, then that means there's a conditional probability of 80% between them. I can give an example. So for example, in my country, you'll see pasta, ketchup, and mayo in the same aisle because we eat pasta with ketchup and mayo, which most of you guys find it disgusting, but it's actually really, really yummy. So back in 90s, some supermarket chain actually put baby diaper and beer in the same aisle. And then the reason is that because when data scientists ran the algorithm, they realized there's 95% correlation between baby diapers and beers. How do you think that can happen?
A father?
Yes. People who have toddler in the house, they can't go out to have drink, so they were just buying beers along with the diaper.
Diapers.
And that's why they put beer and diaper in the same aisle. So there are a lot of AI thing happening around us. We were just not aware. Now we start raising this awareness recently.
Thank you.
Okay. You could just pass it. Can you? Thank you.
Hello, good morning. My name is Naya Pearson. I had a question in regards to the copyright concerns. So I'm a lawyer, so I don't really get into the tech part of it. So I just wanted to understand, since you guys are involved with it, when you say it's being trained by copyrighted material, like for example, I can do a song like Extension, then, for example, the beat or the track, how would that be made using the software or the interface?
Yeah, so if you use that song, it will be copyright infringement. But the thing is, this system, what they're doing, okay, don't mess with Spotify domain. Okay, don't pull up any data from that domain. But the thing is, some users on the internet, they download it and put it in their own website. Now it's publicly available. Now there is no agreement that we need to follow. As an AI system, that is capturing that song, and it's the owner of the AI are not even aware that they just did copyright infringement. So it's really hard to detect these because they use billions of songs basically, and they don't even know what songs they're trained on.
But I also to point out, I think that it's not necessarily that they're making the argument that you can't use copyrighted songs to train, but then like on the AI side, it's like, well, you put it on the internet. I can listen to Jimi Hendrix and learn how to play like Jimi Hendrix. Like, why can't I give it to my computer too? So. I think we're just in such new territory because we never had something that could like understand something it really understands things now. It can make it where it's not copywriting it's not infringing on any copyright. And like, I think it does make sense that if my music went into a trading set, then I should make money off that model. Like, I do think that is going to be a thing. But in terms of copyright, again, that's only the one argument against it. In general, like, you're essentially saying, I want a monopoly on this. I think the biggest concern is that they need to say that it's human made, because everything that's copyrighted has to be human, as opposed to like a trademark. Like, that's just whatever. It doesn't have to be human made, but like copyright does. And then again, I actually, would you guys want an example of how I've used AI?
Sure.
All right, I've written songs before, and I'm a songwriter, playing music for a long time, and I'm like, okay, well let's write a song with ChatGPT. I want to do this, and then I guess just how are we on time?
We have time. You have time.
We got time? Okay. So let me so this song I ended up calling Echoes of the Blue Dot, and let me know if you think I should have a copy. I should be able to copyright this. So I said, I want to write a reggae dub song if Carl Sagan and Alan Watts were writing them together. Give me a list of song titles. And it gave me a bunch of lists. So Cosmic Rhythms of Consciousness, Voyage into the Infinity, Stars and Self-Reflection, and then number 4, Echoes of the Blue Dot. And I was like, ooh, that's a good one. I like that one, because Carl Sagan had the pale blue dot, which is just us, like, taken from a satellite far away. We're just this little insignificant blue dot, and it was always something that stuck with me. I'm like, all right, let's start with Echoes of the Blue Dot. What's this song about? Echoes of the Blue Dot could be a reggae dev song that weaves together Carl Sagan's cosmic perspective with Alan Watts's philosophical insights. And then we can celebrate our unique position in a vast cosmos, reflecting on the fragility and beauty of Earth's as seen from the vastness is safe, urging listeners to take responsibility for our home and each other, promoting a message of unity and stewardship. And I'm like, great, let's move on to lyrics. what would be the 10? What would be the opening line? Give me 10 options. And again, I just want to know what's the first line of this song, like. So and then it came back with like 10 awful things, like in the vast cosmic sea, our home is whispers of infinity. Beneath the gaze of a billion stars, we stand on this blue shard. I'm like, ugh, this is so terrible. Like it's because I suspended in a sunbeam. I was like, and again, this is kind of where my artistic is coming in of like, this is so corny. But now, you guys would, give me give me more of a King Tubby vibe, who is like, King Tubby's, pre Bob Marley reggae, and it nails it. So again, I asked for 10 first options for the song, but it happened to spit out vibrations stir a silent void as the blue sphere spins like an asteroid. Basslines ride a cosmic wave, Earth's deep dub from cradle to grave. Echoes bound for an ocean of stars, reaching out to Jupiter and Mars. In an echo chamber of space, our little rock keeps a steady pace. And I'm like, ooh, boy, like we're onto something here. And then it gave me a bunch of stuff that I threw out. And then I went straight to chord progression. I talked to it all about the chord progression, and I'm like, and it talked to me about the different ones. I could do a one drop, I could do a rocker, I could do a step a beat, I could do a bubble, I can do a classic offbeat progression. And then I'm like, all right, what's a musical key that I wanted to go into? And it gave me a couple keys that I should go into. And right at the end, it said F sharp minor. This key gives a darker tone of music, which can work well with dub, aiming at a deep, heavy bass. And then I'm like, all right, great. Give me a stepper and F minor. And, I continue to go on. And I'm going back and forth. And I'm taking some of these chord progressions. And I'm throwing them out. And I'm like, and then I'm just playing on the guitar. And then, okay, this is what I want. And then I continue to go on. And a couple interesting little pieces of it is that it came close to giving me the line I want. So... we dance upon the pale blue dot. I hope humanity is not forgot in this grand cosmic play. And then it just like in its first version, it just gave me a terrible last line. So I gave it the first three, and then in curly braces, I wrote insert powerful line using slant rhyme, and which gave me. We dance upon the pale blue dot. I hope humanity is not forgot in this grand cosmic play. You ready? We script the morrow with today. And I'm like, I love this so much. There's so much opportunity here. And I wanted to have this song kind of written so I could play the whole thing and record it and done, but it's still only kind of half done. But feel free to follow me on any of my social media channels and all. And what do you guys think? Should I be given a copyright for this AI-generated music?
It depends, but I think
It depends.
that the way you described it, it kind of makes me think of like a creative search engine, I guess, in a sense, because you're saying it's giving you back these options, and then you, the human, you basically have to check that you're not infringing on someone.
So I totally agree. This is a creative search engine. It's not just for music. It's everything. It's a creative search engine. Like for it's a science search engine, and it's like it's a thought. It's called semantic search, and like. One cool thing about like kind of what you were saying about how it uses the BERT model to understand what it can do. Like not only can it regurgitate, but it can also like use it to look things up for you. And if you give it your own database, like there's this one company, my friend has a company called Bundle IQ, and his company is mainly used by investigative journalists. And like a journalist will wake up in the morning and just like do tons of research on all these articles from all over the world about like what he wants to research. And then as he's writing, it will kind of suggest like, hey, you're writing about this. Here's an article that you didn't have time to read that I found for you, and it has a relevant point. Like, here's what I kind of think you should say, and if you want to read more, like, go do this. So, and it really is like like we use we use gaming engines to run GPU, and the reason we do it is because a gaming engine can map 3D space, and that's kind of how we've arranged like human intelligence is in 3D space, where if this was the 3D space, like dog would be here, cat would be here, and thermodynamics is over here, and we've kind of known how to map these things. So no matter if it's music, if it's art, if it's your project, if whatever it is, like you should think of it. You put it so beautifully, like that, like creative search engine, and that's really all this is just like a next level of search engine.
You say you're a law student, right?
I'm an attorney.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, right now, it's very vague on intellectual property of all these stuff. They just say if it's copyright material, you cannot train it. But the thing is, like, what about public speeches, you know? I can just train my model with Trump and Biden speeches and then just make them sing whatever the song I want. And that won't trigger the copyright infringement.
But you're not going to use their voices?
What was that?
Are you going to use their voices? Or, I mean, I think that there's just some nuances. Like when I speak to other attorneys, there's some people that are more conservative, and they're saying all of this material is someone else's authorship. So how can you bring back, I guess because they're thinking of it as a machine, and it seems like you're describing that it can think, or do you think it has like a thought process, this AI?
Yeah.
It's tricky because, like, yeah, in terms of like, you know, I can make, you know, a parody song of like, you know, the Biden-Trump like debate if I want to, because that would fall under fair use, like, because I can use things under fair use, and then, you know, I think it really comes down to. Well, first of all, like it's going to come down to this getting litigated over the next 5 years and a bunch of precedents being set. So we're all going to find out how this works together by our judicial branch of government. So, but in general, like I think it's very bad if someone impersonates Joe Biden's voice and calls me and tells me not to vote, or you know just says heinous things. Like I don't know whatever it is, and we don't even know what is possible yet. Like again, like. When they were thinking of Instagram, they're like, ooh, it's going to be this like nice app where you can share pictures. And in a couple years, we're going to launch this new feature. We're going to make teenagers very depressed. Like they didn't know that. That wasn't something like that was on their roadmap, but like that was like an unintended consequence. So we have no idea the unintended consequences. But in terms of like intended consequences, or like, you know, if you want to, you know, if you want to like, you know, make a Drake song and try to win an Oscar, I think that's like not fair use. But as I did, I'm like, okay, I want Carl Sagan and Alan Watts to write the song, and then when it wasn't reggae enough, I'm like, all right, give me some King Tubby, like, and then do I owe King Tubby for that? Like, I'm open to like, do I? Like, I don't know, like.
Some
you know,
people would say yes.
some people say yes. I'm kind of one of them. Like, but he died a long time ago. So like, am I paying his grandkids? Like, I don't know where the line is. As of right now, I'm not worried about it. I'm just creating the coolest stuff I can, and you know, I'm going to try to get rich with AI before it makes us all totally obsolete.
So we have time for one more question. Okay, so does anyone else have a question besides her? Okay, so go ahead and
Yes. My concern is when we research creativity instead of creating, do we abort the pathways that we have had when we have seen creativity at its most excellence? Do we obstruct, abort? Because when we use this system, so far it seems as if we are reaching back to what has already been done. What are we doing with what still needs to be revealed?
You want a shot at this one?
Okay, I can give it a try. So one thing you need to know is AIs are not generating something brand new. They learn, and then they just mix stuff, and then they give it to us. So the creativity part of AI does not exist.
I kind of want to stop you though, because that's kind of what we do too. You know, like like we are just allegory engines, in my opinion. Like the creative process is like accepting a set of restrictions and like manipulating what's around you to make it work. And like, like, and again, like, I don't want to say that, like, I know that I think there is losing something. Like, I think like the Beatles sitting around writing a song together is more beautiful than me talking to a chatbot and writing it. Oh, where'd she go? Oh, I was talking to her again. And but I also don't want to say like I don't want to be a purist and be like, this is not as good now because I'm using this new technology, and I think that. You should definitely light some candles in your room and write songs by yourself, and you should paint, and you should do that. But in terms of like, I do think that it's a force multiplier by 1,000%, especially as people really start to use it. And I think I think there is something we lose to that, like, like that inner songwriting of like, I came up with every word myself, and there's that piece there. But in terms of creative potential, I just think it's such a pot win because you can just make so much more. I hope that answers your question, and I'm free to chat afterwards if you want to talk more.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Scary times, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh yeah? I'm excited.
You're excited. Well, I'm excited, but it's a little scary, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, let's be real. I mean, the government has AI that finds you and kills you with a bomb.
That is
like,
true.
so, like,
That
I'm not
is
really
true.
worried about deep fake Tom Cruise by a lot, but,
Good
but
point.
I think it's going to be a net positive. It's going to come with huge negative consequences, but hopefully something worth it.
Great. Let's do the picture. And round of applause. Thank you, guys. Very interesting.